2011 SANFL Grand Final this week. We've got the dream matchup, Central District versus Woodville West Torrens. These teams last squared off in 2006, and of course, Mark Soderstrom, we know what happened that day. Can history repeat itself?
Well, it's going to be tough for the Eagles, no doubt about that. They are against the absolute juggernaut that is the Central District Football Club. In 06, I think it was Justin Sikalella and Hayden Skipworth that helped the Eagles get over the Dogs. Skipworth won't be there. Sikalella will be, which is a fantastic story that he's continuing to go on. But look, it's going to be a massive challenge, Chris, and I reckon right now I'm going to have my money on the Dogs.
Look, Centrals have been so good throughout this final series, of course. They dispensed with Nord in clinical fashion in the second semi-final 2 weeks back. Now, the Eagles, of course, very, very impressive against the Redlegs on prelim final day. The way they shut down the Nord structure from defence was very impressive. They're going to have to do much of the same this week, you'd suspect.
Well, they got a good taste, didn't they, a fortnight before of what happens if they don't shut that structure down, and they absolutely destroyed in the qualifying final. Today, look, they were terrific. They didn't give Norwood the time and space that they did the fortnight before. I thought they went very well. Really low-scoring game, but they did take their opportunities when they were there. Did get a lot of them up forward too. Probably a couple of crucial misses that might have sunk the game a little bit earlier. But look, I thought they did really well. And just the fact that we saw them respond from what we'd seen that couple of weeks earlier, I thought was really impressive. We'll put them in good stead so they can go into this grand final on a real high.
It's a nice mix of experience and youth too, Mark, because of course 6 of these players played off in the 2006 Premiership team. There were some of their young guns that really stood up in the prelim final. Matthew Goldsworthy was fantastic. See their beautiful crumbing goal. They got some really good run and structure right throughout the midfield as well. But some of the older heads like Scott Lewis, who hasn't played in a grand final so far, very good for them. Where do you see is going to be the advantage for the Eagles?
Well, look, I think that they do have a little bit of youth in the side. Like Jimmy Toompas probably struggled a little bit in this prelim final, but we saw him the week before in the first semi was really good. So some of those guys, Goldsworthy you mentioned, I think if they can get a little bit of that speed on the open decks of Footy Park, might help them. But we know the Dogs are better than anyone at closing the game down. We just saw James Remington kick a goal at the end from the match in the prelim final. I thought his inclusion the past 2 weeks has been terrific. His energy and just the life that he has, and I just love the fact every time he kicks a goal, even if it's a cheap one, both arms go out, but he kicks the good ones. He did that as well. So I think he's, kicked 5 in the last 2 games. Really good inclusion. He needs to be up, and he'll help a lot of the other guys get up too.
We know that Centrals, of course, stand up on the big stage. So they've got 10 grand finals at premierships from their last 12 grand final appearances. Last year, Nord threw everything at them but the kitchen sink. They just couldn't quite get over the line, the Redlegs. We see here Timmy Weatherall just couldn't get that kick in the dying minutes. But Centrals, when the pressure is on, they always stand up on that first Sunday in October.
Look, they certainly do, and they've got 9. I know you're getting excited and think they've already got that 10th one in the bag, and probably many people out there will agree with you, Chris, no doubt about that. But look, when they were under pressure last year, the quality players stood up, and then Chris Gowns from the start kicked the first goal. Little superstar Ian Callan, one of our favourite players, was terrific. So those guys, you'd expect them to be up again. And look, as we said, I think it's going to be very, very tough for the Eagles. The Dogs do it better than anyone, and I think there's a really good chance we're going to see it again.
Look, so many permutations from this one. Cannot wait for this encounter, I must admit, Soders. Sunday, 3 p.m. here on ABC One. Really looking forward to this one. Central District and the Eagles at Football Park. Mark Soderstrom, who can win and why?
Well, look, I think the Dogs, I'm going to put my money on those. I really do hope the Eagles come in with that buzz that they had against Norwood in the preliminary final, because there's no doubt they can challenge them. They've already played on a number of occasions this year. The Dogs are good, and the Dogs have beaten them, but the Eagles have got very, very close. But I think it's very, very tough to go against the Dogs.